So here we're going to show you how to assemble the aluminum frame. Now, typically once the frame is assembled, most testers just keep the frame assembled and just scrunch it down to its smallest size because it does take a while to assemble it. Good idea to take a look at the quick guide that will explain how to assemble it, or in your manual. It consists of laying out the pieces, and in this case the frame is numbered with a 2 here and a 3 down here. So we take the matching piece that says 2, and we put that there. And then this one has a 1 here and a 1 there, so that lines up. This one has a 3 here and a 3 there, so that one goes there. And then we simply push in these little detents, snap the frame together, We're pushing in the little button from behind. There's another one there. Snaps into place. Now our frame is assembled in its smallest compressed down state. So when we install it in a doorway, first thing we need to do is to properly size the frame for the doorway, and we can do that by releasing these knobs, pulling the fan up to the top with a really loose fit here. I've got about 1/8 of an inch gap up there. Tightening these knobs to hold this dimension. Loosening these off so we can expand it sideways. Expand it out to fill the doorway. Again, I've got a little bit of a gap on the sides here. Lock in that dimension. Lock in this dimension, remove it from the doorway, and attach the cloth. We've got the cloth on the frame. Now we're going to reinstall it into the doorway. Slide it into place. Now, only slight nudging is required. If you have to kick it into the doorway, then chances are the frame is a little bit too big. So the first thing we're going to do is to fold this back and to loosen off this knob. I'm going to pull the cloth back so you can see what I'm doing. And we've got the cam lever in the defeated position, unactuated, and we're going to push up here like that. See the movement I'm getting there. Tighten this knob. Only has to be firm. We do the same thing over here. Tighten that knob, so I'm pushing down with my foot, up with my hand, and we'll actuate all the cam levers at the same time. Push this out to fill up the gap, tighten down the knob. Do the same thing here, loosen the knob, push it out. You see I'm getting a bit of movement in there. Tighten the knob. Now I can actuate this cam lever. If you look carefully, you notice I'm getting about 1/4 of an inch of movement here. Actuate this cam lever. A little bit more movement. Now it's really jamming it in the doorway. This cam lever. This cam lever. At this point, you may want to just check it to see if it's firm in the doorway, and it's nice and firm there. We haven't put the crossbar in yet. So the crossbar for this particular fan, there's two positions, an upper and a lower. We're going to try the lower position. We just hook this in like that, loosen off the knob, hook it in on this side, push out, tighten down the knob, actuate the cam lever, center the strap so it's over top of where the fan is expected to be. We're going to show you the fan install into the cloth now. We simply maneuver the fan into position so this edge is kicked up. We take the shock cord, pull it around the fan. Meanwhile, we kind of push in with our tummy, stab it into place, and there we are, the fan's installed. Right now the fan is actually resting on the frame. You can see it's taking the weight, but we want this strap to merely stop the fan from moving forward. So we unravel the strap, put just enough tension to keep this straight up and down the Velcro. There's not a lot of force in that, just a little bit, just to hold it in place. And we've got a nice tight seal around here. Let's check that. Now the fan is installed. So we're going to do a little gauge install. We've got the gauge which we keep all tubed up, wired up, ready to go with the building pressure, fan pressure, and speed control cable already mounted, so there's no reason to disconnect these. There's several different ways this can be mounted. There's a hook on here which allows it to hook onto the frame. There's a slot here which enables it to hook up to a crossbar if we have an additional crossbar in here. In this case, we're just going to hook it in. There's a number of different slots we can hook it into. There's our gauge all hooked up, ready to go. And all that we need to do now is to attach our speed control connection to the fan, attach our fan pressure tube to the fan, and to take the red tube that goes through the red panel and to pass it through one of the holes in the cloth, which you can't see, or down in this corner, but there's also one over here. It's kind of the same thing. So normally, if we were testing outdoors, we would have passed this tube through the panel already and have taken it around away from the fan, but in this case we'll just stick it in there just to show you we made the connection. Another option here is to use this clamp, which can clamp onto a doorway, and then this keyhole merely drops over top of this hole, and you have a little eye hole here so you can see what you're doing, so you can clamp this onto a doorway either this way or this way. So we'll come over to this fan here and we'll show you how they're using a very similar clamp arrangement where they have their clamp, which is attached to the back of this plate. The gauge itself is velcroed onto the plate, and this short little stub piece is hooked into the aluminum frame in a very similar fashion. So there's a number of different slots that we can utilize here, and I'm going to choose to use the highest slot up here because I'm kind of tall. Make sure it's straight up and down, and we've got the gauge installed. Again, we've got the red tube for fan pressure going to the fan, the green tube going outdoors.